And welcome everyone to Community Checkpoint number 3. We are here ready to discuss more of your thoughts that you've been sharing on social media, through our surveys, all of that. If it's your first time tuning in, well, that's what we'll be doing. I am John Subinarius, and I've got two very familiar devs by my side you've probably seen before, but I'll let them introduce themselves again anyway. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Christopher Budgeon. I'm the game director for live content on Rainbow Six Siege. Handle things like matchmaking, progression systems, ranked, and many other playlists.
And I'm Joshua Mills, creative director on Siege. I handle the long-term vision of where we're taking the game and work with awesome people like Chris and John across the entire production to drive this game forward.
Cool, and we've also got a dev behind the scenes. This time it's Jackson from the Rainbow Six dev team. He's going to be playing some Siege for you guys, and we'll be hopping in and checking out what he's doing occasionally as things go on. But all that being said, let's talk about the subjects that we're going to be discussing today. We're going to go through Rank 3.0, a discussion on that and updates that are coming or that have already arrived. Dokkaebi's balancing as well, the remaster balancing that is, Calypso Casino plans for the future and what we're doing right now with the ban phase, and the 1v1 playlist, which you're going to want to stay tuned for. That's going to be happening at the end. But before we get into everything here, guys, before we start, we've seen your comments on our social channels, on our last stream regarding the Rainbow Six marketplace. And while we won't have any major news to share today, we can say that we're working towards a change in direction, and we'll provide additional context early next week in a blog post, which will cover its current status and how it factors into broader economic updates. So, that being said, let's jump into our topics of discussion today, starting with Rank 3.0. And look, we've got a lot going on in Rank 3.0 right now. The first few weeks of introduction have been very exciting. We've had, a few issues that have come up, but we've tried to address them as quickly as possible. And of course, one thing I guess that a lot of people were talking about was placement matches. And I guess just more clarity right now on how placement matches work for this season and how they'll work going forward.
Yeah, so ultimately placement matches this season kind of relied on your hidden MMR that existed in Rank 2.0, which hadn't been reset for 3.5 years. Yeah. So it kind of served as a starting point. There was a small soft reset on top of this starting point, but it was a bit of a reveal on this is how the game has had you actually over the last 3.5 years. And then the placement matches would be then on top of that. And to be transparent, they were not as impactful as we would have liked, and I think as what players would have liked. So we're actually going to be making updates to placement matches going into next season, making them more impactful, because we do think that that's how you start your season. That's where you kind of, those starting matches kind of set the tone for how the rest of the season is going to go, and we want to lean into that.
And we also heard that no one can place in champion out of placements in season 2. What was the reasoning behind this decision?
Yeah, so that just goes to what the meaning of champion is. What we've had is a hard reset that happened at the top. So basically the champions and some diamonds got a hard reset into Emerald. And just to be clear, when that hidden MMR existed in Rank 2.0, the entry point for champion was 4,500. We had some champions close to 9,000. So there was as much of an MMR spread from, copper to champion as there was from champion all the way down to, those 9,000 players. All of those have now been squished together and are kind of competing. And what we really wanted to do is kind of reclaim that meaning of champion and what it means for our game.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the fact that back with 1.0, when you saw a champ, it was like you get out of their way kind of thing. And we really want to recapture that essence and have people fight it out and prove the fact that they are truly champ in 3.0. So
that's right.
Well, speaking of the champion division, look, we talked about Legend Division. That's coming through right soon. Once that's introduced, will you be able to place in champion then? My feeling from before I asked this question was that based on what you said, probably going to be still the same idea as you have right now, but I just wanted to check.
Yeah, so basically we just, as a very simple statement, we don't think 5 matches is enough to call yourself a champion. We really wanted to reclaim the meaning of what it means to be champion within Siege, and we see now people, kind of fighting the fight to be able to earn that right to call themselves champion. Today, we're on track for about 2,000 champions per platform group. So console players and PC players, both are expected to be around 2,000 players champion, let alone champion 1, right? Which will be a much more prestigious rank to achieve. So we'll be looking at that number, but that's currently where we're tracking. Much different than rank 2.0, where it was well over 10,000 players that were able to be champion.
Yeah, and I think when we're talking about these placement matches, like just like Chris said, 5 matches isn't enough to prove you're a champion at that point. But it's also important to understand that if I'm like a silver player or whatnot, and I win all 5 of my placements, that's not going to necessarily throw me right up into, you know, emerald, plat, and stuff like this, because that wouldn't make sense for you as an individual. Because that's what we're doing. We're looking at you as an individual, where you are, and then, as we mentioned, the placement matches will be more impactful, so they'll sway you more from that point where you're actually sitting.
And we're talking about individual skill, like you said, and I think this brought up a question within the community as to why KDA is not, or is KDA a factor in determining rank? If not, why not? And is it something you're considering?
So Siege is a team game. It's a game where you can kind of play off of each other. You can drone somebody in so they can get the frag. There you can, call out intel. Maybe you're playing Echo and you just want to stop the plant at the end. Yep. It's not always about fragging out. It's about wins and losses. And that's ultimately where the system is kind of rewarding, is are you playing as a team? Are you playing off of each other? And are you be able to kind of close out those wins and losses?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this often. Like, Siege is more than just fragging. Like if you're a gunner, it'll get you far, but not to the top. And that's the reality. And we see that slugging out right now through the emerald and like kind of plat diamond area. Is that those fundamentals, that strategy, that deep understanding of the game, it really becomes important when you're starting to face up against teams that do understand it. And that's what next level Siege is all about. So we want to make sure that play styles and like that role within the like a squad is rewarded accordingly and not overlooked. So
no, absolutely. And I mean, there's so many layers to Siege, right? You might be able to get away just being a gunner at the lower ranks, but eventually you're going to hit that point where you have to be more aware of everything and go through those layers, those different elements that are required to be successful. So I think it's a really good point. Look, another thing that happened in terms of the reset that happened, the ranked reset, it seems a lot of players were bunched into higher ranks. Is this something you expect every season?
Yeah, so that hard reset that happened this season was a new starting point for ranks. And we didn't want to do a full reset for the entire community. Matchmaking would be completely out the window. So yeah, we leaned into basically what we knew about players at that point. But with the going forward in future seasons, there will be some type of reset that happens at the top. It might not occur exactly the same that it happened in this season. With this season, it was really about let's clear everybody and reclaim that champion rank. We want it to be prestigious. We want it to be something that we can bank on. And just talking a little bit about our competitive ecosystem, yes, it's true. We have Legend Division coming next season, but we actually have plans to continue investing on our competitive ecosystem even after the fact. So we'll have more to announce later this year as well on what our next steps will be for the competitive group.
All right. Yeah. Make sure you guys stay tuned for all the announcements. Josh, did you want to add something? Sorry.
I'm not going to spoil nothing.
Okay.
No, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. Stay tuned. We got a lot coming up, guys, in the next few months. But also on this topic, there's a lot of stuff that's happened for Rank 3.0. We've got a lot of data already that's come through, even though it's still fresh, right? Are you considering making adjustments to it based on the early feedback, or are you waiting for more data?
So some of the feedback's actually, like issues with the system that we wanted to address right from the get-go. So there were times where we saw content creators saying, hey, I only got, +2 rank points for this victory. What happened?
Yep.
Great point. There was a rare bug where you were getting less than 10 points, and that the system, you're supposed to have a minimum of 10 points. So that's been addressed already. Now every victory is 10 points. Not every loss can be 10 points because of the demotion shield, of course.
Yep.
So for those that don't know what the demotion shield is that if you have less than the number of points you were supposed to lose to be demoted to the next division underneath you, it will stop that and set you at 0. So it'll basically block you from being demoted. What that ends up doing does kind of pad some players' ranks, depending on how often that they hit that demotion shield. That's something that we're comfortable with because it doesn't feel good to just constantly flip-flop between those different ranks. We have heard also, like there was times where an emerald and a plat were in the same squad and they were going up, say, a squad of all emeralds, and the plat was losing more in a loss than the emerald was, which is inverted from the system how we want it to be. So that's already been addressed as well. So now the plat will lose less than the emerald will lose more, which is what the intention was. We've also made a lot of changes with our squad calculation. I know there's content creators with whiteboards that might want to be able to kind of fill this out. But basically the way that the squad calculation works is we'll take the squad MMR average. So the average amongst everybody, say if there's 5 players, what the total is divided by 5. And then we'll take the highest, so the max player. So if it's a diamond or emerald, whoever's in that squad. And then basically from that squad average and that highest rank, it's the 75th percentile within that window. So anyway, that's a little insight on how the squad calculation is currently working in rank 3.0.
Awesome. Go ahead, Josh.
Just to dive back to the motion shield kind of thing. One of the key aspects here is, again, like if you clawed your way into that division and you're holding that ground, and maybe you didn't perform at that point and you're going to be pushed back, we want to give you that extra chance at bat. And it's funny because like this methodology is kind of applied through the game, even with imbalancing. Generally speaking, we always give you 2 of things so you can kind of screw up with one of them and then get another shot at it. And that's the point, is we want to really encourage people to try and get that mastery mindset kind of driving them forward, because Siege is tough and we know that, and people are really experiencing it this season, especially with like the adjustments and the realignment of a lot of things. But that's the point, is like you're going to hit challenge and you're going to be able to have the opportunity to overcome it. And we want to keep encouraging people to take that fight.
And in terms of that demotion shield, how many matches is it active for? Just one, or is it
just one? Okay. Yeah, it'll stop you from dropping. That next loss will take you down.
Fair enough. All right. That pretty much wraps up our discussion on Rank 3.0. But I didn't mention it earlier, guys. We're going to have a live Q&A session. You can probably see it on your screen at the bottom there at the end. So if you have questions, you can send them in whenever we're watching. We're keeping track of everything, and we'll answer them at the end of the stream.
I can just add one more thing.
Yeah,
so we have a seasonal survey that just went out around Rank 3.0. There was a lot of questions on Rank 3.0. We don't have all those responses yet. I did have an early look at what some of the feedback was, and a lot of it comes down to the number of matches that it takes to rank up. The system is actually relatively simple in the sense that if you beat somebody that's a higher team than yourself, you'll get more points, and if you lose to somebody with, that's less than you, you'll lose more points. And how it ultimately works is that it's just win rate. So if you're getting a 50 win rate, so you're winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one, yes, you will kind of stagnate and you're going to be at the rank that you belong. Currently, the way that it's balanced is that you need about 4 more victories than losses. So if you have, say, 4 victories, then you lose 1. You now have 3 more victories, so you need to get that 4th one in order to get 1 division up. So that's a number that we've been, hearing some feedback on, but that's currently how it works with Rank 3.0. It's really all about win rate. So if you're winning those more matches, that's how you get that next division. We're going to be looking at that number. Nothing to announce today, but that's ultimately one of the feedback points that we've been getting.
Fair enough. All right. So now that wraps up our discussion on Rank 3.0, but thank you, Chris. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's good to add that context. Let's check in on gameplay with Jackson and see how he's doing. He's one of the better STL players, if I recall correctly, right, Josh?
Yeah, Jackson's pretty cracked, actually.
NC Jack.
Yeah, NC Jack. People in the community know who he is. He's wild. Like, he'll show up in play sessions and stuff like that, and we're like, hey, pistols only, buddy. Like, relax.
Gotta nerf you a little bit. You get too strong.
No, but I mean, he's got mad game sense. He's been playing the game for ages and stuff, and like a ridiculous passion for it. So it's great to have him today to be able to play.
10 seconds.
And where are we at right now here?
Yeah, so he's playing Snake. He's providing, trying to reveal everybody, so that way he can call out for Dokkaebi, who's on the board.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because Dokkaebi now needs to know the operators that are there, right? You got to get all the spots in order to utilize the skill. And I think we already have the patches live now for Dokkaebi, right? So
yeah, 2.1 went live on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So like the adjustments are already sitting in here. But yeah, we're
actually
dive into that.
We're jumping into that. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, let's jump into it. We're going to talk about Dokkaebi balancing now. I mean, look, there's been a lot of talk about the Dokka remaster being a little overpowered by a lot of people. I think once the ban was introduced, she was banned a lot in ranked, let's say.
Yeah, you can play ace now.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Anyway, is this something you expected in terms of that?
In the end, yeah. Like that's the reality of it. Like as we've talked about Dokka for some time, and when I say some time, it's been years of kind of looking into reworking her, whether it's through bouncing levers that we had. We did do adjustments over the course of the last few years, trying to move the meter on her, and it wasn't working. So we went into the idea of going, okay, remaster. She's a remaster territory operator. We got to figure this out. And there were multiple iterations that will never see the light of day right now. But the reality is it took us a long time to try to find out where we want to move with her, because every time we started to move with her character, we were just completely taking the teeth out of her. And then she was no longer viable in a lot of different ways. That global ability is incredibly powerful, but it is kind of core to her identity and her reach within a match. So it's really, really difficult to be able to maintain who she is and this hacker prowess, which again, a hacker is I have remote access to what I have. I can turn your things, like your tools against you and everything. But how do we balance out the frustration points? And it was difficult. So what happened was, as we moved to the new system, what we have in the remaster, and we were getting there closer and getting all the different variables in, we were doing play sessions, and they were like going in, and we're like, man, she's still not strong. Like she doesn't have that presence that she needs to have. And then the day we overcorrected, and that's really what it comes into, is we just went a little too hard. But the good thing is we have the levers in place now, and the cadence of content to support updating her correctly now.
Yeah, I mean, well, speaking of which, I kind of already spoiled my own question when I was talking earlier, but are you already looking at adjustments for her to balance the playing field, or is it still too early? Yeah.
Definitely not too early. Like, I think this is one of the huge joys about having the new cadence of content, is that we actually get to update the game more often than we did in the past. And that's been something we've been pushing for a long time, because it gives us more control over the game and ability to react. So in 2.1, as you know, which is live right now, and Jackson's playing this right now, there's a global cooldown on the Jago payload. So when it goes out, it goes on a 7-second cooldown. In mid-season, so 2.2, we're actually going to modify that a little bit. So we're taking that global cooldown and making it an individual cooldown per defender. So if she targets one defender, they go on cooldown, and then she could target another defender, and then they'll go on cooldown. One of the aspects of this is because we want her to still have that reactive feedback when she has access to the resources to be able to do this sort of thing. But that's not enough. And we know that's not enough. So we're moving into, actually, Season 3. The launch of Season 3 will be going into introducing more counters to her. So ultimately, the Jago payload right now doesn't classify itself as a signal, which is what the phone call used to. We're changing that kind of format to make the Jago payload a signal. So it'll be an upload to the user's phone. Mm-hmm. That means you can jam it. That means Tubarão can cut the signal. So these counters come back on board. And this is one of the things we want to do, is reintroduce the counters, because the two primary things, and I know I'm rambling. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Two primary things with every operator in Siege is that no operator should be spammy, because that's not tactical. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't go with the pace of the game. And second, no operator should be uncounterable. They have to have counters. Some of those can be much, much harder, like a very hard counter, like our operator coming in Season 3 for the shield users, or in some cases soft counters, which are always more enjoyable, because it gets that action-reaction gameplay that we always strive for.
Now, I'm sure a lot of people out there are thinking, okay, we got all these changes. They sound great. Why can't we just get them all at once? Why don't we just go right ahead and do it?
So we don't do the same scenario in reverse, which is overcorrect in one way to overcorrect in the other way. Like, we want to avoid this. This is exactly why with Sophia we're doing the incremental kind of steps. This is how we're going to approach stuff like this. As we know, and we're looking at the community's sentiment and stuff like this, to bring an operator out, we'd rather them be a little bit stronger and then bring them back in line accordingly. Like, obviously Dokkaebi is very strong. We're bringing her back faster, but the whole point being incremental on that, so that we don't go too far in the opposite direction. But again, the best thing about the remasters in general is there are way more levers available to us to be able to play around. And beyond that, we're even looking at additional potential counters that we've never seen before, and looking at other interactions with the operators that could expand how they work too.
I mean, on that topic, right, are there any counters that you feel might be discovered over time, or that you've already seen discovered after the release?
I mean, the big one is Thunderbird. This was really cool to see, because a lot of people realized that you know what, I don't need to go on my observation tools or whatnot, so I'll tank the damage and then just heal up the full with a Kona station from T-Bird. That was wicked, because healing is really hard to do in Siege, because you're usually just dead. You don't get the chance to heal.
Fast,
But when we talk about this idea of she sends the payload to you, you burn the phone, and then you're just going to heal up, it goes, well, now what? So instead of us from a development team diminishing her and defanging the Dokka, the players get to do that interactively within the round, and that's how it should be. So they start putting the pressure back on her. Sure, she can still get access to the network, but it's temporary now. So these kind of aspects are the way we want to go, and give players more options to play around. But again, healing was a really, really great one, because it doesn't happen often. It doesn't have the same impact as often, just because, you're usually, if you catch a bullet, that could be
you're probably gone. Yeah. Cool. Moving on, I guess, now to our next topic, which is going to be Calypso Casino. Very briefly want to touch on this. We saw that you made changes to how the ban phase handles Calypso Casino a few days ago. It differed from the initial planned rollout of the showcase map pool that we talked about in our last checkpoint, right? What was the reason behind this?
Yeah, so we actually had planned to keep Calypso Casino in the ban phase until the mid-season update.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, just that wasn't really matching players' expectations. They were looking to play it less. They wanted more variety in their maps. At the end of the day, it was worth a shot, right? Because we had that new content. I thought it was great for the Rank 3.0 rollout because everybody was on the same playing field.
Right.
Everybody had to learn the map at the same time. It was a great way to kind of separate the skill, especially with the hard reset that happened on the top. So it was a nice alignment there to kind of see how that worked out. But in the end, it was just overplayed. The map was getting played too often.
Well, we've been through this a few times where before, when new maps weren't like they were bannable when they first came out, they got banned all the time. No one played them, and then that made the appreciation of that map drop significantly because no one learned it. Because competency on a map gains confidence, and then you're enjoying it more because you can handle it. So then we made it so that new maps were unbannable, so that was in the rotation. But then we still had folks going like, I'm never seeing it in my ban phase and stuff like this. It was like, okay, well, we want that content to surface, and then yes, it more than surfaced during this. And the reality it was like, okay, we'll find other ways to incentivize playing the new content and putting it up there while leaving the flexibility for players to just enjoy the game. And as you mentioned, rank 3.0, you're going into rank, you're going to do your grind. You need some of those comfort sites to fall back on, a map you're comfortable with. And we want to make sure that's offered to the players and that variety is there.
Yeah, so I think we've had both extremes in terms of new maps, like not being played at all, being played all the time. So we're trying to find that balance right now, right?
And, providing incentives to play the new map. I've had multiple discussions with different people about this. I think it's a great idea. Like at the end of the day, it's like if we incentivize you, it feels a lot better than being forced to play it.
100%.
Agreed. Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of learning the map, though, do you have any recommendations for players looking to learn it or things they can do to improve their knowledge of it in game?
So one thing we really made sure that we had for this season was Clearhouse. Clearhouse is a great map learning tool. You have a lot of customizable options. Go against the dummies, go against the Carries Legion. You can, see different bomb sites. The dummies are placed and, or where they're taking their defenses, for example. So being able to have that on day one was really important for us. We also have Landmark Drill. I know Landmark Drill doesn't get played as much, but it's really interesting because it'll show a key landmark within the map, and you now have to kind of rely on your memory on where was that again. Let me go see if I can find that, and there's some audio cues to kind of help you. Those are two tools that are really strong that exist within the game in terms of map learning. But yeah, really good.
That's definitely in game, and then beyond that, obviously, new stuff comes out. We have a ridiculously active community that starts producing different levels of content, whether it's just a map breakdown or what operators you should bring in, site setups. This stuff is invaluable, especially if you want to get that edge early on. Learning this stuff, studying it, and then jumping in it's night and day. If you know what you're up, if you have a plan going in, you're going to be far more successful. Yeah,
and even going just on live streams and watching a player play Calypso Casino live, for example, or a new map live, right? That can help as well.
Yeah. There's been so many good map breakdowns from content creators, and how to try to get that spawn kill off the initial repel. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. You got to encourage the spawn kills. Thanks. Onboarding just cried.
Cool. And we talked about tools. Are there any other tools you're planning on adding for maps upon their release?
Yeah, one thing we really want to do is make sure that we can have the versus bots playlist on day one. That's something that we didn't have for Calypso Casino. There's a lot to go into the bots. We are looking for ways on having that initial data because they are machine learning bots that rely on player data. We're looking for different ways, even like our QA testers, for example, being able to kind of give them those initial data sets. So that way we can actually play Calypso Casino or any new map that comes out in the future from day one. So you're playing a match of Siege and a map you don't know in a safe environment where you can make mistakes, you can try things quickly, you can learn. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I can't wait for that, honestly. It'll help me too. Because sometimes, and I'm sure people out there as well, they feel a lot of pressure, to jump into a match not knowing the map. And that's why they avoid it, So it might be better to have the bots there. And then you can be like, okay, I understand the angles, understand my entry points better. So I think it's awesome.
Especially on defense. Where do I reinforce? Where do I make a rotate? What's behind this wall? There's a lot of open questions when you're on defense.
The first thing I'll say this. This is like inside baseball stuff, but the first thing I do when we're testing out new maps is like I'll sit down in the play session and I just secondary shotgun and start opening the walls to find out which ones the external walls are and start building from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we have the most ridiculously useless setups in those play sessions when we don't know the maps.
Yeah.
But then the LDs always rock us because obviously they know.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, speaking of knowing everything, maybe Jackson does. We're going to check in on him and see how he's doing in terms of his play. Where are we at right now? How you doing, Jack?
Got Denari.
Yeah.
Oh,
Man. We haven't gotten a chance to see his highlights. Before we were doing rehearsals, Jackson was awesome. He had some crazy highlights, so we're not getting them now. But that was tough. That was honestly tough.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say
It's
anything.
interesting watching him play Denari because we talked about, the overcorrection and reacting too quickly to feedback. Like Denari is a good example where, he was on the TS, super strong, and we made changes to him and we regretted it. And then we actually had to revert those.
Go back, yeah.
Right? So it's a really tough challenge about knowing when to actually, pull the trigger on those. But, yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we like that's important about the TS as well is like whenever we get an update like that, like so whether it be Denari or we see an issue, it's like our cadence of content is every 3 weeks, which means our TS is every 2 weeks. So there's a week missing there. So that means usually the rollout of a fix, if it's discovered on the TS, will have to come in the next update, like the point update. But if it's something that we've caught ahead of time and it gets validated, that's why you'll see bugs and stuff like that update on the TS because they were already in process, and that can happen as well. So between that and the fact that our matchmaking is a lot looser on the TS, just a rapid iteration for the get people into the matches, it means that the data we're getting from the experience isn't always accurate, and we have to be careful about that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Dokka, we were aware that she was well cooked at that point, so it was like let's go ahead and get things moving and kind of get these updates rolling out.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Fair enough. All right. Let's jump back to our topics here and go on to the 1v1 playlist, something that I think a lot of you guys out there tended to enjoy. I know I did. Were you guys pleased with the results with the 1v1 playlist?
Yeah, actually quite impressed by how it performed.
Yeah.
So basically, for some context, the amount of engagement we got from the 1v1 playlist is competitive with some of our biggest and most well-loved events like Wildcard. So that's kind of shows how much it was played. People were jumping in, they were playing 1v1s, and especially considering it's only 2 players in that match and competing with the overall engagement in the game, that means a lot of matches were being played.
Yeah.
So yeah, pleasantly surprised. We had a feeling, considering 1v1s have been growing in popularity over the years, but it definitely shows that that's somewhere we need to continue to invest.
Absolutely. And I mean, did you get any insightful information from the seasonal survey that went out regarding the 1v1 playlist?
Yeah, so seasonal surveys are a great, well-structured way to make sure that we get the clear feedback, and they're from our players themselves, right? So they allow us to we have one for the content creators, one for pros, and one for the overall players, so that way we can segment that information appropriately. And what we really heard was ranked was number 1 with a bullet. Everyone wants a ranked 1v1 playlist. So yeah, we're really looking at, how do we bring that into the game? That was a clear winner in terms of feedback. There were other elements that we heard. The prep phase was a bit too long. They wanted it to be a bit more snappy. Bomb sites to be auto-revealed, so I don't have to drone the whole site to try to find where to go. They felt the matchmaking was kind of imbalanced. We used quick matchmaking, which is not as up-to-date as, say, one of our more popular playlists like Ranked, so we'll lean into the ranked matchmaking more. The map pool, House was, there was the old 1v1 me on House, but it was old House, not new House. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to remove House. We're going to add a bunch more maps so that we'll have 5 maps if we bring it back. So yeah, lots of different feedback that we received from the players.
Yeah, I mean, from a personal level, that's actually pretty much my list of feedback. I think 3 of the 4 points there were yeah, I'd like to be able to know where the map, where the bomb is, and things like that. And the prep phase is too long. So for me, I'm excited if it comes back, to see those changes come through. Now, on that question, can we expect 1v1 to return in the future?
So yeah, we want to build this with the community. So we're going to bring it back this season. So in our mid-season balance patch, 0.2, 1v1 will be making a return with a number of changes. Also, we had the feedback I didn't mention of the downtime between rounds.
Yes.
The ban phase probably wasn't helping that. We're making a change where you'll have attrition. So the winning operator will be removed from the board.
Nice.
So if you win with an op, you now have to choose another op. If you lose, you can still use the same one. But that's going to make everything a lot snappier, shorter prep phase, bomb sites revealed. So yeah, we have a lot of feedback, and what we now will ask the community is like, with this set of variables, does it feel much better? Are we going in the right direction? Or what other elements or changes do we want to see? And we might get feedback like, actually, no, ban face was better because I could say I want to go downstairs, therefore I'll choose a certain op to ban. That was more, strategic. But we'll see. Like we'll throw those changes in, and we'll see how the community reacts to it.
Absolutely. And I mean, I guess, my next question is, which we already kind of hinted at when being the most popular topic, is rank going to be included in this re-release?
So ranked is a bit larger because, we're still working on rank 3.0 and want to make sure that we get that formula right before we, apply that to another playlist. So right now it will not be coming directly for 1v1, but we understood that was the number one with a bullet. That's what players want to see from it. So we're going to be working towards a competitive version of 1v1s in the future. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's important, right, is in terms of flow, I guess, of the game mode. You want to make sure it's solid, want to make sure everything is good before you go into create that ranked mode, right?
That's it. Like, it's a new strategy for us to kind of be building a playlist with the community and kind of make those changes and see what the feedback is.
Well, exactly. It's just like incremental balancing. It's incremental design as we're going forward with everything that we're putting into the game, because we want more community involvement with everything that we're doing. Like, we can do fantastic testing with our pros. We can do fantastic testing with our content creators, but until it goes live and it's in the hands of everybody who plays this game every day, it's not real. And then once it's there, that's the real data, and that's what we have to go from. And like Rank 3.0 is a prime example of that. We went through all these stages, goes live, and we're like, all right, we got some work to do, and we're going to make those adjustments. And but that's the whole point. And like being able to drive towards that, get that feedback, and then make those iterations and kind of grow it together.
That's right.
Perfect. All right. I think that pretty much wraps up our primary topics, but we know we have a lot of questions out there. So let's start jumping into our live Q&A session. And if you haven't already submitted a question and you want to, just post it in the chat, either on YouTube or Twitch, and we'll try to answer it as best as we can, if we can get to it, because we do have a time limit, of course. So first up on the list is, will there be decay introduced to champion and legend ranks?
So we do have a skill decay, but it's more for missed seasons. Like, if I didn't play the game for a couple seasons, there is a skill decay that comes into place. We're not currently looking at skill decay and the relationship between, say, ranked and legend division, just because, like, if you play ranked a whole bunch and you get your champion and then you jump into legend division and that's your new home and you're loving it, we probably won't decay your champion rank, and then you lose access to legend division, for example. So we're not currently looking at skill decay for active players, but yeah, if players are not active, then yes, the skill decay will come into place.
Okay. It's a big one, I think. Can we get any updates on voice chat and what's happening there?
Yeah, so voice chat is really unfortunate for this season. Obviously, with the release of Rank 3.0, and we talked about how strategic, playing with each other and the win rate and how important it can be. So we have identified a number of issues with voice chat. Sometimes these issues are just hard to replicate in the studio environment, and if we can't replicate them, it's harder for us to fix them, or we're kind of fixing blind. We have been able to replicate recently a number of different voice chat issues, and we're happy to say a fix is coming for the 4.2 patch for majority of the issues.
Exactly. Like, in some of these issues, like we've had a kind of a reoccurring issue with voice chat, and one of these is the one that we cracked, which is like the thing that brought a tremendous amount of joy to me when I've heard we finally got it, because it's one of those things that is super frustrating. We recognize that a lot of our players, especially in our ranked ecosystem, are playing solo. But they need their voice in order to be able to work with their team. So being able to nail down this stuff and get to it, like, I'm super happy the team was able to crack it, because some of the stuff was like the most bizarre setups that would do it. But that's the nature of games. And like, there's so much intricate parts that work together. There's all these different services and stuff like this, and this stuff can happen. But being able to like weed it out. The biggest thing I'd say from this is, just like voice chat or just like any other topic that comes up from the community, if you're you're using your voices to be heard, and they are being heard, and we're acting on that, and we immediately put people onto it, and we escalate it accordingly. And I think that's the big thing, because like, especially with voice chat, like coming in where it's like, what is going on? And there's a strike team working on this stuff and kind of solving it. So yeah.
It also helps in learnings for future, right? To put procedures in place and things like that, right? So
absolutely, yeah. Especially because like some of the cases in which we find out stuff, it's like maybe a feature being implemented a while back has had a cascading effect or has been sitting there as a root problem that was undetectable. Right. And then we figured it out and we're like, okay, now we got to clean that up. Yeah. But I mean, again, nature of the beast.
It's just in software, everything's connected in one way or another. And sometimes you change something over here and it has an impact over there. And that can be very difficult to make those connections. Actually, we can mention something for the until the 0.2 patch to kind of help alleviate some of the frustration. If you end up playing in the shooting range, like say you're matchmaking and you jump into the shooting range, or if you're testing out match replay or any type of offline mode, so not a non-PvP mode, best to just reboot the game and then jump into your PvP match, and that will actually clear out a lot of the issues with the voice chat. Not all of them, but majority of them for now. And then the 0.2 patch, that will be in the thing of the past.
Yep. So mid-season patch, guys, voice chat will be good to go. So just wait for that. But in the meantime, as you heard, a few options in order to avoid the issues that are occurring. Next up is, we haven't really heard much about testing grounds recently. Do you have any updates on it?
Well, testing grounds is still coming. Obviously, we're going to be doing the half reinforcements later this year. I think, just as I mentioned earlier, when we're talking about, like, we do workshops and conversations with our pros and play sessions with our pros. We've been doing the same thing with our content creators at the majors. We've been doing workshops, or even people come into the studio. Testing grounds is our opportunity to do that with everybody in the community. And this is something that, like, we've been talking about this a lot the last few weeks too, about utilizing this a lot more going into the future to test more features and get more feedback coming in from the community, like our live community on these topics. So yes, it's still very much a feature for us to do. The key thing is we have to slot it into the seasonal kind of calendar, because it can't run at the same time as an event and things like this. Like we'll be doing this. So you can expect more of these in the future, and some of the scope of them may be smaller. Like if I say Speed and Armor had its like a makeshift work in progress UI, it had like system changes to multiple operators. Maybe it's rule sets and stuff like that that we want to mess around with or change like different parameters. We may put that up on the testing server going into the future.
Yeah, we had like a previous thought process where it's like this needs to be roughly ready in terms of like the design and mindset before we put it live, so that we get the gut check and then some feedback on it. I think we're challenging that a little bit. We want to be able to work more with the community and kind of say, hey, what do you think about this? What, half wall reinforcements is a good first start, right? It's a big, impactful feature for us to play with. Yeah.
Cool. No, it'd be great to see testing grounds used more frequently. I think the community would appreciate it as well, without a question. Yeah. Cool. Next up, we have a lot coming in, guys. So we'll get to them. Just be patient. It feels like it's a question from the chat. It feels like I'm playing against 5 stacks in ranked while solo queuing, or I'm frequently up against squads of 3 or more. Are you working on this, or aware of the issue? I think we actually already addressed this, correct?
We didn't talk about that directly. Basically, there is a kind of squad matchmaking, and the amount of impact that will have in terms of the matchmaking is basically a lever that we're playing with. Right now, it's not as high as it was in the past, like when we first released this. And so, we'll be looking at making that a bit higher. So what basically happens is what we're seeing is that because players are getting, especially at the higher MMR, higher rank, because there's no more hidden MMR. Everything you see is what you get in terms of matchmaking. So basically those higher ranked players, they're kind of dispersing in terms of those ranks. There's not very many champions. Matchmaking times are starting to get a bit long, so we've kind of relaxed it a little bit. But we'll be looking at what's the right formula for that. Ultimately, we're also challenging, like, what's the right squad compositions? Like, if we have a 5-stack and we don't have another 5-stack, we thought maybe 4-1 was better, but then that's not great for the solo player. So maybe 3-2 is better than 4-1, because at least the duo can play off of each other versus the 5-stack. So we're looking at different combinations in terms of, okay, if I don't have a 5-stack, what's the next best that we can deliver? And there's a lot of open questions like that we're challenging. But yeah, that's something that we know is not as present as I think players are expecting. So we'll be looking at that.
All right. Next up is, will we get a proper cancellation of stats, meaning deaths and kills, not just points being returned, for a match that is canceled due to bans that happen for cheaters?
Yeah. So we actually are absolutely working on that. So that's been a long-standing thing. I get a match cancel, but it affects my win rate, it affects my KD, it affects my all these different stats that I have in the game. It's a really complicated topic, like, to be honest, but it's something that we want to do, and we're trying our best to actually have it by the end of the year. But it's something that we're working towards.
Yeah, like as I mentioned, like all these interconnected systems and stuff like this, basically whenever that match is canceled, it deletes it from essentially having happened. And in some of the systems, like they don't get that notification that's going through. I'm simplifying it by a ridiculous amount. So, but the point being that we have to get all these services to be on board to register something happened, but it didn't happen. It's like it's complicated, but it is something we're actively trying to pursue. We've heard this one for a little bit, so we have people on it now.
Fair enough. Next up is, do you plan on tuning ELO gained lost in the future? Would love to see more ELO for wins and for it to be consistent 25 ELO gained when close in ranks. I think we talked about making adjustments. We already have, but...
Yeah, we adjusted the system. The actual balancing of the system, at the end of the day, it's all about win rate. So that 50-50 win rate, you need 4 more wins in order to rank up in terms of the number of losses you have. But that's really something we're questioning. We're questioning it globally. Is that the right number? Right now, that's the number we went with, and so we're letting the kind of season run with that in mind.
Yes.
But we're also looking at per ranks, right? Like, is that the right number for copper as it is for platinum, right? Is that maybe can be a difference between those different ranks? There's lots of things on the table. We don't have a next step to announce right now because to be honest, everything is fresh. Like all the data, the seasonal surveys just starting to come in. So we're really trying to make sure that we are taking informed decisions as we move forward with ranked. Because to be honest, we believe in ranked. Like we really took a stance that it's not a progression system; it's a ranking system. We added the the rewards track on the side, the competitive rewards track. That's something that we want to continue to invest in. May have that hold more weight, maybe have some more meaning behind those rewards, maybe have more of a ramp up, so it's not just 10, 10, 10, but making that more impactful so it takes a little bit more of the conversation. That's something that we would like to do, but it's not a progression system, the ranks today. It's not, hey, I start in gold and I get my way to champ and I do that every season. It's, yes, you are positioned and where we think you believe, like based on that, and prove us wrong.
Yep.
Like just get more wins than losses and prove us wrong. And that's really how the core system works.
Fair enough. Next up is, well, actually, I wanted to ask this myself, but I forgot about it. But will the 1v1 playlist ever be permanent?
Oh, so right now we're kind of taking, we're being shy with permanent modes, to be honest. Like we learned a lot from Dual Front.
Yep.
We learned a lot from the arcade playlist that we had live that didn't have a lot of play. So announcing something as our new permanent playlist is kind of something that we're being very cautious with. That said, could something come in more often? Like we saw the 1v1s last season, this season. How long does it stay? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 6 weeks? There's lots of different ways that we're kind of playing with what's the right combination of being able to offer those modes to players. But to say a new permanent mode, especially where we've been over the last couple of years, I think it's hard for us to do that right now.
I think we recognize the fact that like our players love ranked, like period, like just that experience of ranked, and we want to make sure that we're not trying to split their attention between different things that could be of an equal want for them, and that's really what it comes down to is like given the option of multiple things running, I'm going to go to the thing that I want the most, which is the ranked experience. This is one of the things we're talking about as well, is looking at how do we make sure that as a player you don't feel stretched too thin, because we don't want to do that either. Like a game, as much as Siege is tough, and yes, the grind and rank is real and it's going to do challenging you and push for mastery, it's not supposed to be your second job or something like that. It's still supposed to be entertaining for you to have a good time with your friends and enjoy the game and enjoy the mechanics and enjoy the richness that is Siege. So,
all right. I'm sorry, I'm just looking through the questions here to try and see what we can ask. Are there any anti-cheat updates coming? I think this is a common discussion.
Yeah, so cheating is a never active topic. It just is. It's always, we're gonna have some wins. We're gonna have some opportunities for us to improve. But one thing I can say is that we actually had some big wins against DMAs recently, which is a really tough nut to crack. DMAs, like they are really difficult in order to fight against, and we had some big wins against some of those providers recently. Also, we have updates coming for recoil scripting soon, like in the short to medium term. Like in Season 3, we hope to bring that to PC and then to follow in console in Season 4. So now we'd be able to combat recoil scripting. Also, our mousetrap continues to be updated. It's actually in the best state that it's been for a long time. But we know that there's more conversation around cheating, and there's more opportunities for us to continue to fight the cheating.
And even next season, we have a key feature that's launching with the Legend Division.
That's
so
right.
We have Secure Boot coming in as the first implementation within Siege. So this is a prime example of continuing to invest in anti-cheat and not backing down from that fight, like ever. Like we're going to continue to put money on this, invest in it, get the greatest people that we can to help drive this forward. And yeah, the DMA stuff, like huge shout out to the team for that, for being able to crack that. Like that is something that I can tell from talking to different peers in the industry and stuff like that. This is something that a lot of people are concerned with about what it can do, and the amount of effort people will go to just not to play like normally. But anyway, well, I'm really proud of the work that the team's been doing on this and the fact that we're continuing to invest in it every season.
Absolutely. And guys, we are going to have another checkpoint coming up beginning of August, I would say, to dive more into those subjects, player protection, anti-cheat, things like that. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Let's get back to the questions, though. We got one here saying, a balancing question. Will you buff Zero's Argus launcher? I think his gadget could use a few more tweaks so his pick rate increases, quieter deployment, faster switch between sides.
I almost feel like I could guess whose username that is. but Zero's a good one. Obviously, we've done a couple different things to try to buff him in the past. Like he is a jack of all trades kind of operator, with the fact that he has a lot of utility he can bring to the board and a ridiculous amount of cameras as well. But even with that underutilization is there. We've looked into a couple different things. I've seen a wild prototype from the Barcelona team about his Argus launcher at one point, and we're like, okay, that's a little crazy, but
I know which one.
You know which one I'm talking about. But we're definitely looking in different ways to enhance him 100%, because like every operator, when we see that they're not quite getting the playtime they should, especially with the amount of utility that man has.
Hard breach, gone six cameras. The gun's pretty good.
The gun's pretty good. Yeah, that's it. And yeah, just the recoil buffs there. Like, I mean, so I mean, the only thing he needs is like the split jump. Like that's really it. But the reality is, it is something we constantly look at how to advance everybody. So we're still tuning it and seeing what we can find there. But nothing to go into right now.
Okay, fair enough.
I appreciate the stealth aspect, because I know that's one of the comments, is that these things should be quieter.
Right. Yeah, they are pretty loud.
Yeah.
Especially when it's quiet.
Moving on to a next question here, actually another balancing related question. Have you considered the live data that Doc receives when a defender hangs up to be a little too strong?
Yes. I mean, this is a conversation point, 100%. Like, this is one of those points where before, when we were doing the tuning, we actually didn't have it. And this is part of a series of changes that went in altogether, which probably like tipped the scales. So to me, this is definitely one that we can discuss and talk about to see. Those 3 updates I mentioned, like obviously 2.1, 2.2, and then 3, that's not going to be the end. Like, we'll continue to monitor and adjust and make the tweaks. Now, those tweaks don't have to be maybe as major after the fact. Now that we'll have counters on the board, we'll have more clear cooldowns, so less spam, more counters. We'll be able to like adjust things a little bit more precise after the fact. And this sort of thing, which is huge, it's an intel giver. Fenrir has this kind of aspect about him too, like that gadget going on and off, and he can see it across the map, so he can give great callouts. And his gadget getting destroyed across the map, he gets to give that intel. And as we know, intel is very, very strong in a lot of aspects in the game right now. So this is something, that would be on the table.
All right. I'm trying to go through it as quickly as we can, guys, to get your questions. But what would it take to add a solo queue playlist available to everyone?
A solo queue for 5v5?
They didn't specify, but I'm assuming, yeah.
So I would assume, yeah. So that's really looking into, that pain point between, playing as a solo player versus those that are coordinated. And, we have a lot of opportunity for us to continue working on the existing 5v5. Mm-hmm. But as I did mention, we are interested in continuing our competitive ecosystem updates over time. So we'll see where that leads us in the future.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention that like the pain points that our solo players have are something we're hearing very, very clearly right now. I mean, there are a lot of people who play solo and play it for all sorts of different reasons and stuff like this. I mean, the true goal would be that we would love for you to find your squad, because like Siege plays very differently when you're in a squad, and that would be that to me is where peak Siege is, if I'm speaking personally. But at the same time, that's not the case for everybody. Like whether it be schedules or anything like this. Like I mean, I've got friends I play games with, and we can't get everyone coordinated all the time. So it is what it is. but making that experience as best as possible for everybody and be able to play the game the way they want to and feel it's fair, it's competitive, it's that point where I can earn that mastery is something where we're really, really driven towards. So yeah, like Chris said, we have investigations ongoing.
All right. I have another question that I'm not sure we can answer right now, so I don't know.
Great, John.
Okay, so I'll go ahead. So what is the current state on mouse and keyboard on consoles?
Oh.
We had a few people asking. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're working towards that to have that for the mid-season update.
Okay.
That's something that we've committed to, and then we're going to be bringing that out. So again, you plug in a mouse and keyboard, it'll automatically switch you into the PC pool, and there's no spoofer. There's no way of some of these providers have ways for you to kind of say how much is it like a controller and all that kind of stuff. Mousetrap doesn't have to worry about that as much, meaning that it's technically easier for us to catch those that are trying to bypass if there was ever an exploit. But yeah, mouse and keyboard on consoles is slotted for the mid-season update this season.
Yep.
Perfect. Yep.
I'm really excited for the feature to go live.
Yeah.
I mean, we were testing it not that long ago, and it felt really awesome. And it's surreal, to be sitting there and just plug a mouse and keyboard in and just go. But then you're swapped into the PC pool, and you get to experience that as well. Which again, it's all about giving players more ways to play and to play with their friends in the ecosystem they want to. Up to this point, well, you're mostly on gamepad, right? So we've definitely been playing in PC lobbies with gamepads and stuff like this in some cases, but to be able to be native with the input device is going to be great.
Just having that player choice is great.
Cool. I'm just checking out. I got
the amount of anxiety I had with him saying I don't know if I can answer this. So I was just I'm like, thanks, man.
At that point, you just got to ask, and we'll see what happens.
It was like a huge relief, right? Okay.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
I'm seeing a lot of questions on Marketplace right now, guys. And I mean, we already said this at the beginning, but we'll say it again. We've seen your comments. We know now, previously on social media, on Marketplace, we don't have anything to share today in terms of major news, but there will be a blog post early next week, which will cover its current status and how it factors into broader economic updates that are being planned for Siege. So there's your answer there, guys. And next week, make sure you keep an eye out for that. Next up is an interesting one. I don't know why they're asking or the context behind it, but is there any chance you will rework the way hitbox works in Siege? It's
I'd be interested to understand the context.
I'd like to know the context too. Maybe you guys can give us context on that, whoever asked that question, and we'll try to give you more information. Because
remember forever ago, it's a long time ago, in Game First Ship, there was Jaeger had a why.
Well, it's like how Ash's hitbox is smaller. No, it's not. But I think I could say this from a fundamentals point of view. We're always looking at ways to prove the fundamentals of Siege, whether that just be from the gunplay, the gun feel, and then that responsiveness within the game itself. So hit reg and everything like this. We are constantly looking at ways to improve that, and even if it is the smallest adjustment that makes it just that much better, it's just one step closer. If we get a 1% gain, we'll take that 1% gain. Yep. So we do have teams that are actively looking for this stuff at all times and the health of the game in general. So that would be my best answer to any core system, to the bread and butter of how Siege works and how the mechanics work, is that we're always looking at ways.
We're always refining.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. In the last checkpoint, it was mentioned that there's more changes coming to Zofia this season. Can we get a sneak peek on what's coming for her?
I don't know if I should, because I mean, all I can say is when it came, it's next patch. It's mid-season.
It's coming.
And I remember when it was presented to me and I saw it, I was like, "Are you sure?" That was the thing I said. And then I'm like, well, God, we're doing this incrementally. Let's see how she's doing. And she's doing much better now. Obviously people are rolling her in, which is, it's great. And I'm super happy to be running her myself now again. But yeah, she's gonna be packing a punch. Let's just say that.
All right. That's exciting. Well, you'll find out soon, folks. Keep an eye on that mid-season patch. Next up, we've got, would it be viable if the 1x got zoomed into 1.25x and the 2.5x, oh wow, we're getting into details here, ACOG got zoomed out to a 2x, bridging the gap between players who want more or less zoom while keeping a big gap between the two scopes?
it's a big gap, but you're getting close to that 1.5. Like that's the thing. Like we're just like let's. But ultimately, it comes down to, and I think I've mentioned this before. We are looking at magnified scopes just in general and like how they perform for each individual and how we play the game. Because like again, if you're sitting on a couch like this far away, like we are from the TVs, and you can't see the TVs, but there's TVs in front of us.
Watching Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson's rough. But that changes like how that magnification feels when you're playing and everything like this. So we are looking at different things like this, and we're working with our balancing team on kind of assessing that. This discussion is something that, because it's a scope, it's highly systemic. It'll affect so many things at once.
Yeah.
This could very well be a testing grounds kind of topic, and that would be the way to look at it, is that this sort of thing is so big that we would roll it out that way, at least first, as we're dabbling with it. But there are different priorities of stuff that are running in parallel right now, so that'll probably have to come first.
Sure. So we have context on the hitboxes. I don't know what they said. Hit rejection is very bad right now, is what they're saying. Okay. That's why they're saying.
I'll say this: there actually was an issue with hit rejection, like just a little while ago. Like I was talking to our technical director. It was recently, but it actually has been fixed. Okay. So, like that's the key thing, and there'll be more updates in the point.
Test again, because it was fixed like relatively recently in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, but there was like you're not hallucinating. There was actually something that was wrong, and like we noticed it, and we're like, what the hell's going on here? So and then we went in and found it.
So yeah, go ahead and test it again. If you still see issues, let us know. Like,
yes,
it's still
please.
happening. Please, notify us. Yeah.
Honestly, we like I know Josh and I are always listening to what the community is saying, and when we see these things bubble up, sometimes we're constantly just kind of validating, like, hey, is the game working as intended, right?
Yeah.
And because we want feedback on the design, we want feedback on the overall direction, and sometimes things like this can kind of get in the way, so we need to address them quickly so we can find out, okay, is the direction actually working?
Yeah. So it's funny because we do rehearsals a little bit to make sure the tech and everything like that for these these checkpoints go well. So just before we were talking about it, and I was saying how like whenever we do a feature update or whatever, I go on the servers and then I just talk to people and get their feedback. Like so when 1v1's first launched and I got put in the lobby with a guy who was absolutely insanely good, like he was just destroying me, but he was being nice about it, which was nice. And I was talking to him and just getting his feedback about like what do you think of the mode and stuff. He's like, oh man, he's like, this is all I'm playing since it came out. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then but I do this for everything. So like new protocols up, I'll go in and I'll be there and I'll talk to the players who are playing it and stuff like this, just to get these feedbacks and say, when a new season launches, the first week, I'm on every night and I'm playing and I'm checking the comms, see if someone's willing to talk. I'm like, what do you think of the season? What do you think of this or whatever? Yeah. So now what's going to happen is when you get this random like dude asking you about the game, you're like, is that Mills? Yeah. But yeah, so.
They know your voice very well now, so they're probably like,
like I get a voice changer or something.
Yeah. Good. Okay, we got more questions coming in. Do you guys plan on returning the old Outbreak event?
We did bring it back like not that long. Well,
2 years ago.
One version of it. Yeah, it was on Consulate, right? So maybe we like reactivating events for multiple reasons. One, because they're fan favorites. It's something that people are interested in. And they have collections that people really want as well. Like, there are collections that, see, this is the annoying thing. Now I'm going off the rails again.
That's okay.
Even as a dev, I don't get access to all the collections, like the stuff that I missed as a player. Like, so I have to wait for them to come around too, so then I can get them myself. So, cause like, I can't just go in the back and be like, yo, hey, just unlock those for me. But so I look forward to that as a player whenever we reactivate an event that maybe I wasn't there for, and that's always nice. So it is something that we're always looking at. Again, from an engagement point of view, do players enjoy it? Do they have a good time with it? And then there's maintenance. This is a very real development thing because the game continues forward every time, and those events are kind of locked in a time capsule. And when we go to reactivate them, maybe systems, as we talked about, everything's connected. A bunch of systems that were there are now gone, or they've been updated to like new versions. So now we have to go back and retroactively like clean up all this stuff. And if you look at Siege where it is now, we have new lighting system, new sound system. We have all new like materials and stuff like that are running. So all that work has to be usually updated to kind of match it. So the cost of bringing some of this stuff back has to be weighed in as far as the engagement of it. personally, to me, I would love for us to have access to, and I've said this before, the access to the history of the game so that players can experience it all. So as we get that opportunity, we bring things back. In fact, I think we already announced that we're bringing back an old event, Grand Larceny, later this year. Same idea. We want to bring these back and kind of have them relived. So
Awesome.
I'd say never to say never, but it's definitely a cycle. And because of the amount of work that goes into it, we have to be very strategic about it.
All right. That makes sense, but maybe you'll see it back, right? That's the thing. Cool. So next question. We got a few more. We're running out of time. We have like time for a couple more questions, guys. For the upcoming new scope for defense, will we see it on attackers as well?
Oh, generally speaking, okay. It's really early to talk about that. No. Like, I think there's a philosophy thing that's talked about here where it's something that we're dealing with and we've continued to deal with, where if there's a weapon on both sides, it causes problems.
Right.
Because the motive on both sides is different. Like, a defender can sit there and hold an angle forever, whereas an attacker has to move through the kill zones because they have to take the ground. So that's always the difficulty there if there's a weapon shared on both sides, because if you hurt it on this side or change it on this side, you're going to affect the other side. When we're talking about like attachments, like, I think that's a very real conversation about which attachments will go where. Like, obviously the majority of our ACOGs are on attack now. Like, I mean, all magnifies on the on attack, and there's limited on defense. We've already made those decisions at one point, and like continuing to evolve that and figure out what attachments make sense for one side versus the other. So I think there is a real chance that you're going to see more of that in the future, where there is exclusive to one side of the fight versus the other, to keep that asymmetrical nature alive.
Fair enough. And we have one more question here. Just I got to pick one. So I'm trying to be fair to everyone here. I feel like we already answered that. So are there plans to nerf Dokkaebi's weapons or remove some of them?
So, sort of. So the reason I say sort of is because obviously DMRs are a hot topic, and they have been for a while there. And I think I was on the checkpoint last time saying, oh, we're looking into DMRs and stuff. And that's very much true. And the true realization here is that our recoil system that we use for our weapons does not actually effectively represent that weapon class. So if you look back ages ago, you'll see these cool like dev documents talking about, or docs or whatever, talking about how the recoil system works in Siege.
Yes.
That system is great for a lot of our weapons, but not for DMRs. So we don't have the flexibility we need within that system, because we've, just like a remaster, we've gone in and hit every lever on it and been like, this is not hitting the mark. Like it's not working. Right. So we got to rebuild that. So DMRs, we're looking into rebuilding the actual recoil system for them so that we can reinvigorate what that weapon class is. So that said, that takes time. And I mean, as we know, this is a pain point running. Like Jackson's got the DMR right now. So we want to make sure that we can adjust this in the short term while folks are experiencing it. So in season 3, we'll actually be making adjustments to DMRs on defense in a bigger way here. So like a couple things we're adjusting here. But that will be our stand-in while we rebuild a new recoil system for DMRs as a weapon class. So that'll take a little bit longer, but that's what we're aiming for right now. So yes, this will affect different operators, obviously DMRs in general.
Okay. There's one more, not like related directly, but it was a question that seems interesting because you talk about reworking recoil for the DMR. Someone's asking about reload animations and saying that sometimes you don't see the reload and it's frustrating. Is there anything being done to maybe address that, or?
What do you mean you don't see the reload?
They're saying that the animation isn't playing. I believe that's what they're saying. So I'm not.
That sounds like a bug.
It sounds like a bug.
It sounds like a bug. So because there's 2 stages to every reload animation, or at least there should be.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not appearing or whatnot. Yeah. Basically, there's the full reload, which obviously like the mag is removed completely and then replaced, and the gun's readied. That's great. If you start the reload and the mag is released from the platform and then you animation cancel it, the mag will be gone, and then you'll get the second half, which is the mag going back in.
Right.
Both of those sequences should always be there, because if there's one thing that has to be true in Siege, is that it's a reliable, consistent feedback that leads to decision making. And if that is not there, then that's a problem. So it sounds like a bug. And I think so too. If you've got a specific weapon, I don't know who it is. There's the camera there. So I don't know who it is, but if it's a specific weapon, please just like hit us up, like send a message in or whatever, and we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, give us more details for sure. And like,
would it be the one in the chamber? Is that what we were talking?
See, one in the chamber is basically the mag's gone, but whenever you initiate the reload at that point, a fresh make will come up.
Exactly.
So like you're still going to get that. Like there should always be that feedback, because not only is it visually for you, it's third person animation will be represented. So we'll actually see the reload, but you'll hear it as a attacker defender, depending on what side you're on, because that was the whole one in the chamber push was when I hear someone reload, I want to know that gun is non-lethal unless there's one in the chamber. So, but if you know the weapon platforms, like really, like you're a real nerd about it, you can tell that one doesn't get one in the chamber and then push them. Anyway.
That's cool. Yeah, but again, like guys, let us know, like give us more details on issues you're experiencing and we can determine if it's just a bug on your side or if it's actually an issue that others are experiencing as well. I do have one more question because it seems like an interesting one. Will frag cooking come back in some way, shape, or form?
Not
Put that one in.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to get one. No, not likely. And the reason for this, and it's the same thing that I kind of mentioned, where it's like action and reaction is something that's really important to Siege, where you need to have different options on what you can do in any given situation. And the depth charge kind of thing that we were getting with cooking of nades was problematic for a lot of reasons. But that said, we constantly investigate different ways in which we allow you to utilize your utility. Utilize your utility.
Yeah.
Say that fast. Wow.
That's a tough.
But the idea of like just cooking a nade right perfect and then knocking someone out, it's not a.
There's no reaction time.
Yeah, there's
Just
not
all of a sudden you're
You're
gone.
just done.
a great experience there, and it's the reason we went with the way they are now is to force all the other skill sets in Siege. So if I can throw a nade into behind like a half wall or something like that on border, I'm going to force that fight at that point because you're going to move and you're going to die.
Right.
And then like you may get me like in that fight because maybe mechanically you're a better shooter, but you're going to have to do it from a point of panic. And I'm going to try to put that pressure on you, or maybe I got a buddy doing a cross on you or something like this. So, but it sets up for the next step of decision making, and we really want to drive towards that.
All right. Thank you. I know that's it's not always easy to address those, but it's a really interesting. I think it's an interesting conversation about the reaction points and everything that you have to have in Siege, and something like it's more about
It's the depth of the
placement
game.
a nade.
It's the depth of the game.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that goes into Siege
Yeah.
and so many different mechanics that you have to understand and master. And I mean, I find this with myself, or at least I did for a while, and I got better about it. But you get analysis paralysis, where you're like, well, if I do this, and he'll do this, and then this will happen, and this will happen. And I'm like, oh, and there's 30 seconds on the clock. Cool.
Sorry, there's more stuff. Okay. Last one for real, guys. No more after this. SMG 12. Is it going to be nerfed? Is the question.
We have plans for it, so
Okay.
it'll be coming.
All right, there you go. You got your answer. Hope you guys are all happy. No, but seriously, thank you so much for all of the questions, all the comments, and everything. Keep them coming in. Don't just do it on the checkpoint. Go on social media, the seasonal surveys. Make sure you submit your feedback there, guys, because we're watching everything, and we always want to hear how things are going with you. And if you're enjoying the game, that's the most important thing. So that is going to do it for today. Thank you to Chris, Josh, behind the scenes. We have our technical team. We have, of course, Jackson right here, who's been showing off his skills. I think doing a pretty darn good job, if I do say so myself. And yeah, that's going to do it for today, guys. We'll be back at the beginning of August for our next checkpoint focused on player protection. But for now, we wish you a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes.